wanna rock right now. I'm 19, I came to get down. I'm not internationally known, but I feel rock bass when it comes to the microphone. You know I straight rock that. New money came through when we drop that. Tastebreakers on the beat, can't stop that. Power for a couple dogs with a block at. Woo!
In the kitchen with my boy, Chef Dave Baker. You know we got some fire cooking up right now. What we're having today, buffalo chicken sliders.
Oh, sorry.
Cooking right now, it's spicy. We got Brussels sprouts, we're making mac and cheese, and the little twist is the elote. We out here. TV Dinner episode 17 featuring Agnes Azria. What is up?
This is very cute.
We just had an amazing performance from her. We just had some bomb-ass food. Shout out my boy Dave on the ones and twos.
Thank you, Dave. Delicious. Chicken sliders.
So I went to Kennedy Williams' last show in LA before she moved back to Indiana, and I walked in and I just heard one of the dopest songs I heard in a long ass time. And I see this girl up there with this live looper, and she's literally making the drum sounds with her hands, just crazy, and just whips her guitar out and is just singing. And I was like, yo, who is this person? And talked to Kennedy, and she set me up with Agnes, and now she's here blessing us with her presence. So thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. For you guys watching at home, this is a genuine first time us sitting down getting to know each other.
Yeah.
So you're really seeing it real time. So I'm really intrigued to kind of hear about how this whole journey with music started for you, and how you got to the point where you're using these live looping elements. What kind of inspired that?
I can say that music has always been present growing up. It's just something I've been attracted to naturally. I started voice lessons when I was 8, and I tried to take piano classes earlier on, but I had this professor that would hit my hands every time I did it wrong. So I was steered off from playing the piano.
I know. But not the good one.
I was very much like Matilda in the Evil Principal or something.
Do it again.
So I dropped piano and just stuck to singing and started writing songs or poems, because I think writing is my number one outlet. Recently I've been focusing a lot on the instrumental and production aspect of things to make it more musical, because I started as a singer-songwriter. After taking voice lessons for a couple years, around 12 or 13, I took guitar lessons so I can make my songs tangible, exist, put into fruition.
Hopefully
whatever.
Nobody was hitting on you in the hand.
Nobody, no. I had a very nice and gentle guitar teacher, Carlos Platone.
Carlos, good guy.
Yeah, really good guy. Made me feel good about not playing amazing in the beginning of practicing, which I think is something really discouraging for everyone who starts to play an instrument, is that they're not instantly good.
Yep.
And I really struggled with guitar for the first 3 years, because I just didn't know how to play it the way I want, and now I can, and it's really nice. After high school, I went to liberal arts college because I didn't really know what kind of music career I wanted, and I didn't like my singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah.
I respect acoustic singer-songwriter music, but it's just not something I listen to, and I didn't know how to make music that I liked actually. So I transferred from my liberal arts to a music school when I felt I wasn't in the right place, and I met incredible mentors who inspired me to up my performance. So I dropped out basically. I could always go back. I might just take online classes. I don't know. I'm in a limbo. It's been a year since I took a break from school, and within that year I first started looping.
How long ago did you start producing your own songs?
Literally, I want to say fairly, the song that I'm releasing, Low, was probably the first song I ever produced, and that was in February. So it was
This year?
Yeah. But that's the first song I ever produced. But before that, I would play around with Logic, make some bullshit. But that was the first song from start to finish, and I arranged and everything. That I was oh wow, I'm producing this.
Oh,
right
look
now.
at me.
Well,
yeah, you should, 'cause that song is fire.
I put it all together. So yeah, everything's fairly new, and I can't wait to go further. I still don't feel anything that I'm doing is good enough or like up to what I want it to be. But it's just nice to start and my journey and like just do it.
What do you want it to be? What is that journey? Like, what do you foresee for yourself as an artist? Because already I get like a very unique vibe from like what you bring to the table with your music. So
Thank you.
Interested to hear like what the vision is.
I like the idea of doing everything by myself. I just have so much control and it's nice. And I have this bassist, Sandonica, that I'm working with, and I'm thinking of getting more comfortable with Ableton, using this Ableton pushpad I had, and instead of making the beats with my hand, to have like different kick and snare sounds, to make it just like more theatrical. And I also want to start making music that people can like dance to, because I feel like my music is very true to what I feel, but I feel like it's just music you sit back and like take in, and I would really like something that makes people like move their ass and like go crazy. So I think like as I get better at production and also like master Ableton and that shit, I can do that.
So the vision that you have, kind of a balance of what you play tonight with some dancey stuff too, and you just do it
and like using
live.
different equipment, like
Nice.
like a and having more like beats that I make live and looping stuff, and maybe collaborating with a bassist, so it'd be like a duo.
Dope.
Because it's nice.
Very cool. You mentioned earlier that when you went to that music school, you met a lot of mentors.
Yes.
What would you say is like the best piece of advice that you got from them?
You know, when I say mentors, it wasn't like people who would lecture me or like anybody who sat down and gave me a lesson. I thought that's what a mentor was before going to Berklee. But a lot of the most talented musicians I've ever met and had the privilege to work with always had just other people who are better than them hang out. I can't say that somebody told me anything. It was just the habits that I saw in successful people, or people who have reached a thing that I wanted, and I would just like copy that. Like I guess a big lesson I learned from like some like incredibly talented musicians is how valuable it is to enjoy practicing and to make music every time you touch your instrument. Before, I thought practicing was just practicing, and so then my playing sounded as boring as what I practiced. But when I realized that practicing is literally trying to make the coolest thing that you want to do, and like that practicing is literally like hearing like a Jimi Hendrix solo or something and like transcribing it, and practicing is basically copying, not all the time, but like just doing exactly what you want to do and figuring it out. Like I did scales on guitar that I didn't know how to make into solos because I never transcribed a solo. I did everything that like a teacher taught me to do, but I didn't have fun with it, and I thought it was supposed to come after. But that's not true. It's supposed to be like a beautiful life building thing every time you do a music
I mean, it's pretty much the definition of fall in love with the process. Right? Especially on a creative journey. You mentioned this earlier. A lot of people get frustrated early on because you have a certain level of taste and a standard that got you into wanting to make music in the first place. And when you're starting off, when it doesn't reach that, and this can really apply to any creative realm, you're just like, oh, fuck, I suck. Like, do I really want to be doing this?
Yeah, that right there is another big thing. I mean, a lot of people who are good think they suck, and that's something that helps them to keep going. They're like always trying to learn, and that's the secret, is to always to keep trying to learn. But something that I did a lot in the beginning that I felt like held me back and made me feel like I wasn't living my purpose or doing what I needed to do was just not being nice to myself. It is so useless to be mean to yourself. I mean, you can tell yourself that you need to get better, and if you can give yourself harsh criticism that won't actually make you stop or like feel low, that's great. But I used to like just be like, there's this and this I don't have, and I have this person, you know, like being nice to yourself was such a big like turnaround for me that made me not only like love myself and feel love when I play stuff, but just like get better. Beating yourself up doesn't serve.
It's really just all about your mindset, right? You can either have a fixed mindset, which is like, I'm not good at X, probably not going to get better, you know, like this isn't something I can improve on. Or you can have a growth mindset, which is like, I'm not particularly good right now, but if I continue to work at it, I will get better, you know?
Or like, it's not even that. To be honest, it's like you kind of, sometimes even if you're not good, this sounds really mean, but I'm being honest. I literally think about people who I don't think are good, who think they're the shit. And I'm like, okay, there's something there. Like, there's something there to, even if you're not good, you just, like, tell yourself, like, yeah, you're fucking awesome. Like, who cares? Like, even if I didn't feel like I was good enough and I can give myself steps to do or whatever, even that has, like, weight to it. I learned to just, like, let go and just be like, fuck it, it's fine. I'm good.
Just do you.
Yeah.
And just create what you want to create. And, again, fall in love with that process and let the art grow itself.
And I never knew how to express this growing up, but I would always say, like, a flower... It sounds so dumb. I was young. A flower doesn't grow well under pressure. A flower grows better with like love and stuff. Even if you feel like, you know, you're not where you want to be, just like giving yourself that love and that belief that like you are really good and you're doing all these like things that are helping yourself, like that opens a whole doorway to just like make better music and stuff when you feel good. Even if you make something that sucks, you'll just be like, okay, this sucks, I'm gonna throw it away, I don't care. But then like the fact that you didn't beat yourself up about it, like it allows you to tune into something that's of a higher,
the muse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just, it's about sitting down, putting in the work, even if you're just cranking out shit. Eventually, you know, the muse is going to see that you're putting in the work and you're putting in the time to want to create something. And she'll come visit you. She'll be like, oh, here you go. Here's that chord progression you were looking for.
Yeah,
or here are those lyrics that you were looking
call it
for.
the
You know, the muse.
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So this is your opportunity to shamelessly plug whatever you got coming up. You got any releases or shows or anything you want to plug?
I have releases. I don't have dates yet. So,
So
just
stay
follow
tuned.
me on Instagram. I partnered up with somebody who's helping me with all the business aspect of things. So they're setting up like a premiere. I don't know what's going on. They're doing something that I paid them to do. And
You just make the music.
there will be 2 new releases coming up.
Dope.
That you've heard tonight, recorded. One was I produced, and another one was produced by a dear friend. Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah.
Definitely be on the lookout for those. Final question here. You're stranded on an island. You get to take 3 albums with you. Yeah. I did it. Yeah, what would they be?
Shit. Okay. I would probably do a Jimi Hendrix album,
Okay.
honestly, because every time I revisit it, I'm like, oh yeah, this shit's awesome. But what album would I pick? I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Ooh, I've been really listening to Kate Bush recently, so I would put Hounds of Love, that album. I'd take the No Name album, not the new one. Yeah, okay, sure. That was a random eclectic group. But it just came
Hey, I
into
mean,
my
you're
head.
stranded on an island. You need to really diversify.
Yeah, it's true.
Diversify
No,
your
oh my
portfolio.
God, I take it back. I would take the Kendrick Lamar Untitled Unmastered album, 100%.
Classic.
I would throw out the Jimi Hendrix one and I would put in the Kendrick.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, that one for sure. There's another one I just can't put my head on. I can't put like my there's
It's all
more.
good. This is
Okay,
the 3 that you said right now, you know?
Yeah, but the
could
Untitled
change
Unmastered
tomorrow.
one, like 100%.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for TV Dinner episode 17 with Agnes Azria. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
This was dope. This was really fun. If you like what you see, subscribe, comment, do that whole thing. If you guys want to see someone on the show, hit us up. We'll consider it. Probably not. Just kidding. We will. Maybe. Other than that, see you guys next time.